This is your host, Jason Snellgrove, and I will be your guide as we journey down the road to pleasure hunt or hitting the long trail to those great comp hunts. This is the Coonhound Collective podcast.
Are you tired of whipping, scolding, and shocking to make them get alone? Is your buddy tired of helping you set your dog up for correction night after night? Do you really want your dog to be alone because you forced him to be? Or would you rather him be alone because he wants to be? Grand Night Champion Small Town Lone Survivor is the product of over 25 years of strong natural-born independent traits. This bold trait has been passed down from generation to generation and is showing up in loner offspring today. Loner is a direct son of Hall of Fame Grand Night Champion Cabin Creek Rowdy and Grand Night Champion Lonesome Dove Lori. Loner has a booming mouth that is talked about in every cast he has been in, including the 2021 World Hunt Finals. Loner is a no-reverse, ball-mouth open trailer who ends it plussed up with a huge dying locate and steady chop. Loner loves getting split and is a stay-put gun-pressure tree dog. Loner's intelligence is also impressive. He knows over 12 voice and hand signal commands. Loner has a character that loves like Jesus, but he doesn't walk on water. If you're interested in breeding to Loner, contact Brett Stevens at Small Town English Kennels at 417-300-3777 or find him on Facebook.
If you're interested in running a stud ad for your dog here on the Coonhound Collective podcast, reach out to us at thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. Send us a message through Facebook or Instagram, and we'll be glad to get with you to get you an ad built and get you pricing on all of our ads. Welcome to the Coonhound Collective podcast today. Today I'm going to have a guest on via telephone. Stand by and I will get them on here.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Tim, how's it going?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh, can't complain much better. Been dealing with some sickness earlier in the week, as you can probably tell in my voice. But I'm on the uphill stroke now, so.
You're climbing the hill now, are you?
Oh yeah, it's got pretty sick Wednesday afternoon, and it has been rough. But yesterday was rough. Today I feel much better. I don't sound much better, but I feel much better.
Yeah, you sound a little hoarse.
Man, I've been excited. I know we've had some hit and misses with, as people can tell, my voice dealing with some sickness and not being able to get you on here, but I am excited to get this podcast done. I've really been looking forward to it, and you telling your story and talking about these line of dogs that you've been hunting for a long time now. So without further ado, why don't you go ahead and kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
Well, I'm from Garfield, Arkansas, down here in the hills. And I'm about 60 years old, born in the early 60s. And we got started remember coon hunting around in the early 70s. And it was hard times back then, so we hide hunted mostly. We never competition hunted, just hide hunted. And we stretched them out on boards. We never sold them green, just stretched them on boards and sold them. And we had an old blue tick and an old red tick, and I only hunted them in the wintertime in season. It's the only time we ever hunted. So we got up into the late 70s. And we always raised everything we had because we didn't have no money. If we wanted a dog, we had to raise it. So we had these old Spot and Queen was their names. And I think they're probably 13, 14 years old. And we raised a pup, bred them, and she had one pup. And raised that dude up. and that dude wasn't fit for killing. I mean, it was worthless. So rolled around about 1979, we milked cows, and George Barber, my dad used to haul milk on cans. Well, he quit hauling cans when they went to bulk milk. So the milk hauler was George Barber, and we got to talking to him, and he had a litter of pups, which we never knew. Never got a magazine, never knew nothing about nothing except coon hunting. So he is telling us that he had this litter of pups registered. So I mean, we never had no registered dogs. So he got to talking, and he said, "Boy's big story was these dudes was out of Spring Creek Rock." Well, who's Spring Creek Rock? So he had a gyp called Canadian Valley Candy. He bred to the Spring Creek Rock. And now I know that later on down the line, she is the mother of that McKissick Creek Tabitha dog. So we saved up our money and from hauling hay and doing whatever we could because we were just big kids. And we give $200 a piece for these two dogs. They was the last ones out of the litter. They was open spotted. And we got two of them and got to hunting them, and they made decent dogs. Not world beaters, but they'd trick coon. Well, then again, we always went back. If you wanted a dog, you had to raise it. So we took one of these dogs out of rock, and this dog that was worthless that we still had, and they had some pups. And come out of that cross, well, he would be the grandson to Rock. And this dog stayed tied up till he was 2 years old because my brother was in the Air Force and he was stationed overseas. And when he come in, that 2-year-old dog, he started hunting him. And I mean, that dude, he'd tree coons. So we hunted them a while, and I never could get away from these English dogs. So I had to cross these rock dogs on the English dogs. And so I raised some crossbred dogs and still had the Spring Creek Rock in them. So got up, I don't know, was about out of high school. And I got to hunting with a guy at P Ridge, Kevin Bray. And his uncle was Rodden Bray. And they had some dogs out of Spring Creek Rock. They was out of a Flying Hawk female. Still, we didn't know who these dogs was. And these was a different type of dogs. Now, they never had a lot of hunt in them, but they was just different. They could move a track. And these dogs was the most like the old dogs that I had when I growed up. That's how come I've stuck with them. They're smart, and I mean, they're just different type dogs.
Hey, but before you hold on, before you go on, when you crossed those dogs back on those English dogs, what was the puppies like out of that?
They was pretty decent. They was better than the their sires. They was better. Like I had one. I mean, you didn't have to train them. All you had to do is take them to the woods.
Yeah, it's just I think it's ironic that you even brought that up. I literally just recorded a podcast at the first part of this past week with a gentleman that's what we talked about was doing some crossbreeding to help some other breeds out.
Yeah. Yeah, but back then we wasn't doing nothing to help the other breeds out. We was just trying to get us a dog.
Yeah. Yeah, so y'all were at this point you were still pretty much hide hunting because hides were pretty high
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, back in the early '70s, we had there wasn't a lot of coon back then. If you treat a coon in the early '70s, you was doing something. And we hunted off down here in these hills. I mean, this is rough stuff. and we had 65 of them one time. One winter, we had 65 stretched out on boards, and I think we got like $2.65 a piece for them. But back then, I mean, there wasn't no coon.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're there just south of the Seligman area, is that right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm a little bit north of you, and I'm probably not quite as hilly as you are, but I've got some pretty rough stuff, and I know just driving through down there and going through that way, I know it's pretty rough, hilly looking.
yeah. The only place we ever hunted back when we was kids is off down here next to Beaver Lake, all the way from Garfield, what's called the Devil's Eyebrow, and all the way to the dam, and that's rough stuff in there.
Yeah, I used to work on some houses down there right off that lake, and that there is some rough country in there for sure.
Yeah, but we never got lucky and hunted that flat ground. We always had to walk them hills.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. I just thought that was ironic you brought that up about crossing those dogs there. But yeah, go ahead with it.
Yeah, well, when we got to hunting with old, there was, I think they had three of them: Slick, Arky, and Duke. And old Arky Kevin Bray he got the Arky dog, and we got to hunt with him. But they never had a lot of hunt. Well, I don't think a lot of dogs had hunt back then. About 15 minutes, and that, they'd come back. So then I got to seeing that, there's these Walker dogs there's something about them that's just a little bit different than everything else. So me and Kevin Bray, we got to looking for these crosses out of Flying Hawk, and we plus two we got to I think maybe, I don't know if we've talked to Dwayne Clark by then or not, but we got to driving around and finding these old dogs out of a rock in a Flying Hawk cross. And we went up there to Seymour, Missouri, and bought one, but we never could get no pups out of them. So that's when we found the old dog called Finley River Rock. He was out of rock and out of Flying Hawk female. And we was searching around trying to find a female, something breeding to. And Kevin Bray, we was buddies with old Stuart Schrader over here at Pea Ridge. And he had a Jip out of called a Dog Sounder, which was out of Moffat's Demon, and Mass Clear Creek Lady, which was she was out of Flying Hawk or went back to Flying Hawk somehow. I forget now. So we bred that Jip to the Finley River Rock dog, and we got that litter of pups. And them dudes come out. I think there was 4 males, I think, in the litter, and Stuart got the first male, Kevin Bray got the second male, and I got the third. And Kevin Bray's dog was that Spring Creek Chief dog. And then I ended up with what called the Fred dog. And then them dudes, they was a real deal. They had maybe just a tad little bit more hunt, but you talk about track drivers. They was track driving machines. Dogs couldn't hang with them on a track. And that's how I think we had that Slobber Mike dog. We drove down to Curo, Texas, and bought that Slobber Mike, which was out of Rock, and a Gold Creek Bundo female. And he was at the time, he was supposed to have been the youngest living son of Spring Creek Rock. And we bred him to Paul Gordon. I forget what we call her now. A Jip out of his stuff. Dickerson singing Rambo or something like that, I think. And now that cross come that Spring Creek Dewey dog Paul Hughes had up there in Massachusetts. And then Bray had a King dog. And then there's a Willie dog all out of that cross. And two of them, well, then that is night hunting them, and then two of them was Grand Nights. But yeah, they was a different style of dog.
So the Spring Creek Fred dog, um, was that your like first title dog, or did you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at an ad here I found on him. UKC Grand Show champion, UKC Night champion, Spring Creek Fred. Good looking dog for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. We draw some pretty big name dogs with him. We drawed we heard on that podcast where we drawed that Kentucky River Boomer dog. But we drawed a up there in Autumn Oaks. We drawed a black and tan dog that was a Purina Points breed leader, and we drawed him. And we was out there at the clubhouse, and we pulled old Fred out of that dog box, and that guy goes, "What are you gonna do with that dog up here?" I said, "I guess we're going hunting." He said, "That dog won't work in this country." Well, how come? He said, "He's too big." He said, "That dog can't get across these fences." I said, "Oh yeah, well, I guess we'll see." So we went out there and we turned loose and cut them dogs down through there, and the black and tan dog, these other dogs, they struck. They went to the left. They went back to the right. They come back to the left. And the Fred dog never opened. But pretty soon he opens about a quarter mile down the holler. Well, them dogs, what they was on one of them fences. They couldn't get across it. And the Fred dog would climb, he'd get across a 12-foot tall fence. And they trailed down through there and he located and shut up. And then by that time, them dogs was across the fence. Well, them dogs, they trailed down through there and treed where he located at. Well, then just a little bit, he come treed up on the ridge. We walked down there and they had a holler tree and went up there and he had a coon. We never heard about them tall fences no more.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you know, autumn oats. That's I've never actually hunted autumn oats. Just going on what some buddies of mine have told me. That's a whole different like hunting area territory, the way the ground lays and stuff like that than what say me or you would have, down here hunting. We don't have no row crops to speak of, down here where me and you are at. And they have a lot of that. And do you see the dogs that you take out of this country and take up there operate just as good there as they would here?
Nah, you take a dog from this country up there in Iowa, up there in the flat country, and they'll look like a lot better dog.
Yeah.
But
And reason why I bring this up, I just sold an English dog. Um, been a few weeks, and um, he was treeing possums. I didn't lie to the guy. I mean, I told the guy straight up. Matter of fact, I give him two or three people to call. He called them. He knew what he was getting when he got the dog. Just put it that way.
yeah,
And he called me last night. It's the first time I've heard from him in a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. And I was really getting a little bit concerned because I hadn't heard from him. Just trying to see how the dog was doing. And the dog had all the tools to win and win big, but
yeah,
here we just don't have a lot. We don't have a thick coon population here like you do in some other areas, and the dog was just bad to tree possums on you. Well,
oh yeah,
he's had him about a month, and he's yet to look at a possum with him. He said, man, this is a coon treeing machine, and that's the reason why I say that, because it just, I don't know. To me, it takes I'm from Southeast Alabama. I lived in Illinois for about a year, and I lived up in North Central Missouri for about a year. And in this country, it just takes a different built dog
yeah,
to push through on those nights that the coons are not moving real well to really get in there and get one treat.
yeah. Years ago, when there wasn't a lot of coon down here, you bring them dogs in here from up north where them coons was thick, and they couldn't tree coon down here because that's the difference. The difference in the type of coon dog that you needed to tree coon here and tree coon up there.
Yeah, I can for sure see that. So, how did you do at Autumn Oaks with Fred?
Well, we won our cast, but I think we only had 325 points, and Dad didn't. You got a big score up there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I have heard. So, where did you I guess you campaigned Fred there for a while?
Yeah, yeah, I raised quite a few pups back in the early 90s. That's about what I did. I just started pups out of him and sold them and drove around these big hunts with a load of pups. I think one year we went to first year we went to Winter Classic. That was down in Albany, Georgia. Yeah, that's a different world down there.
Yeah, that's about 45 minutes from where I used to live.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's probably the first time we've ever been to a big city, and that that's a rough neck of woods down there. But me and
Yeah.
old Shannon and I, we took off down. We borrowed my sister's minivan, and we had like 50 some pups in that minivan, and we delivered all them pups on the way down there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Then Fred, I had semen collected from him, and that's where the Obama dog come from. Because Obama, he was collected in '92.
Okay, so yeah, the Obama dog. So the Obama dog straight out of Fred,
Yeah,
and he's a grandson or great grandson to Rock.
big great grandson.
Great grandson. Okay. Well, let's talk about him because it says he was a Super Stakes sire,
Yeah.
uh, UKC Performance sire, grand champion. So let's talk about Obama. How did you see any difference in what female was he out of, and did you see any difference of how he operated versus Fred or some of the other dogs?
Well, no, he was out just of a no name jip that I found. I bought her and raised litter pups out of her because she was the only dog I could find that went back to the spook dog, which was out of Fred, and out of the Jip, the same cross as a Spring Creek King dog and a Paul Hughes's dog, out of Slobber and Mike and that Paul Gordon's Jip, and I wanted to try to keep that. So that's why I bred her because that's all I could find. And when I bred her to Obama, they always said, "Well, how come you named that dog Obama?" And I said, "Well, I said when I started him, he had a really big mouth and he didn't get nothing accomplished. So I figured that was a good name for him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I take a lot of slack for that name. But yeah, he was a different type of dog than the Fred dog. He had a lot more hunt, and I mean he was a good track dog, but he still wasn't the type of track dog the Fred dog was. The Fred dog was the type of dog that he would leave dogs strung out all through the country because they could not hang on a track with him. But the Obama dog, he was a really good track. He was well above average, but he wasn't in the same caliber.
So did you take him and hunt him anywhere or campaign him very much or?
Yeah, he was uh he was a strange dog. I mean, he could have won big, but he had uh I guess you would call it kind of mental issues. If you never done stuff the same way, I mean, every time, if I didn't haul him in my truck, he he was just blowed up. But we won third place registered with him over at Ada, Oklahoma, and won night champion at the Tennessee State Hunt. What few hunts he is in. But he had the biggest mouth you ever heard on a walker dog. I always got accused that I stole this. Well, I put it on the internet, and they told me I stole it from Treed TV. Stole it off on TrackMan.
Yeah. So, did you breed Obama some?
Yeah, I probably raised, I don't know, a couple hundred pups out of it. And throw some good dogs. I mean, he throws some good dogs.
Any of those pups stand out to you in your memory?
Yeah, I gave one of them pups to Shannon Ivy. He was out of a rat attack jip. And that dude there in the hunt, he was one of them first of the type deep and alone. Because you turn him loose and he was going to be treed somewhere. But he he got killed time he was probably 3 years old. And he never did see what he could do. But that pup right there, the last night I hunted him, I turned him loose by himself, and I found him a mile away, treed beside the 62 highway. And I mean, he was a dandy.
Yeah, yeah, sounds like it, sure. So, whenever you, I guess, started breeding Obama, did you have something else that you were hunting, or was you still coon hunting at that time, or?
Yeah, we're still coon hunting and selling pups and traveled around to all these big hunts. I never competition hunted much because I can't see that great. And when I made Obama, I made him a night champion. And the night I won his first place win, I never found a coon. The other guys always found them. And you can't go to the hunt expecting somebody else to find your coon for you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's hey, at least you had some good sportsmen on those casts.
Yeah, they was good guys. We uh we turned them loose once and the 4 dog cast and 3 dogs. They was all split. 3 dogs on slick trees, and Obama had the coon up on the ridge. And the guy said, "Right there's a coon." And then the next tree, the dog struck, or the next turnout, the dog struck, and Obama pulled up tree just right there. And then my other dogs trailed on out of there and walked down there, and there's a big old holler tree, and we was all shining around, and this guy walked up to me and he said, "Hey, that coon's inside that tree." Sure enough, that's a good sportsman right there.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's not that way. And I've been on some casts where it is that way, but I've
Yeah.
also been on some other casts where people try to not help you find your coon or whatever. But yeah, that's
Or
the way
they
it should
or
be.
or they go blind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That happened from time to time.
Yeah.
So what was your next dog that you had after Obama?
Well, Obama, he's 12 years old now. Well, the dogs I'm hog hunting with now, I took a Jip. I called her Obama's Kentucky River Noise, and she was out of Obama and out of a Waltz's Road Hog female. Yeah, this Jip, she is a coon treeing machine. And, I had a guy over in Kentucky hunted her a little bit. Then I got her back, and then I bred her to Fred, and come up with these dogs I got now. I
Yeah,
guess
so
they're 3 year old.
let's talk about that. So about what year? How long ago was it that you pretty much quit coon hunting and you started hog hunting?
Oh, about 2017.
Yeah, and so I know especially down there where you're at, land can be tough or whatever. So let's talk about why did you move out of coon hunting? I mean, I know obviously there's a hog problem, so I'm sure that
Yeah.
had something to do with it. But why did you move out of coon hunting into hog hunting?
Well, the land, they're dividing up the land down here, and these people are moving in out of the city, out to the country, They buy them 5 acres and they think they own 300. And the night I decided that I was pretty much going to find me something else to do, is I turned loose back up here on, took Obama and a pup, and I turned loose, and there's a pond back around the side of that mountain. You can strike coon there every time. So I'd send them around that hill. And Obama, he would do this once in a while. He'd strike a deer. So he struck a deer. And they trailed it over there, and he'd switch off on a coon. So, well, I looked on my Garmin, there's treat. So I drove around there, and there's treat on a little place that got divided up. Now, I mean, I take a little responsibility. I instigated this a little bit. So, boy, my pup boy, but he was a treeing. I mean, just every breath. So when I walked down there, and they had a coon. And I mean, we was probably 3/8 of a mile from this guy's house. I was hunting by myself. And I snuck in there with my light off. And I seen the coon, so I said, man, I'm going to shoot this dude out. So I got my little 22 shell out. All I had 20. I didn't have any 410 shells, because that's what I usually use, 410. But I didn't have none, so I had 22 shells. So I got up and got loaded and shot. And the dude was standing about 40 yards up there on the hill. So, hey, what are you doing up there? So I told him. And told him who it was, what I was doing. And I mean, he was just going nuts. So I leashed the dogs up and started out there. Told him, I'd just get my dogs. They got on you by accident. And, well, there wasn't no talking to this guy. So I took off walking to the truck. And he said, don't you walk away from me, you SOB. He said, I'm going to whoop your butt. And I thought to myself, I said, well, you might tomorrow, but you ain't tonight. So I just kept walking. Well, here's light come. You've seen somebody running with a light in their hand. That light's going everywhere. Boy, here he come just to get it. And I could tell how close he was getting to me by his light, because I didn't have my light on. Well, he got 20 yards from me, and his light went out. Never made another sound. I said, man, this ain't good. This dude's going to pounce out of the bushes like a cat on me, because I didn't know where he's at then. So I kept walking towards the truck. Still nothing. And I guess the dude got close enough to me that he seen that I had a gun. And once he should have known I had a gun already. And once he got up there and seen I had a gun, then I guess he turned around and went back to the house. But I made it to the fence and got the dogs loaded up. But, crazy things go through your mind. And I thought to myself, I said, man, what if that dude had a heart attack? I said, well, I ain't going back to check. And that's that right there. I said, you know what? There's got to be something better than this.
Yeah. So, do you find it easier, I guess, to get permission to hog hunt, or are you hog hunting public ground?
No, I hog hunted down here in Mark Twain National Forest. And I mean, it's like stinking 2 miles from the house. And you'd go down there but then I think 2 years ago, they banned it in Missouri. You can't, not on Mark Twain National Forest, you get 6 months in jail and a $5,000 fine. You get caught killing one of them. So that shut that down there. And then, now I try to, like, I got a couple places to hog hunt, but not a lot. But I mean, now I try to trap a few hogs now and hunt places where I can go.
Yeah. So, but from way back when y'all first got that first pup to now, you've just transitioned this line of dogs into from coon hunting to hog hunting with no real issue.
Yeah. See, these dudes can move a track. They say, you got to have a silent dog to bay these hogs. Not with these dogs. These dogs will run them down opening because they're different track dogs. These dogs will run a track with their head up and don't have to be on the track. I've seen them come through on a coon. We've seen a coon and they come by 10, 15 yards away from the track running it.
I'm glad you said that because I was just fixing to ask you: are they hunting with their heads in the air?
They, I tell a lot of people this, and they think I'm nuts. But that Fred dog, he could locate a tree probably 20 to 30 yards before he ever got to it. It was a different type locate, and when he was running a hot coon, he would locate, but it was different. And when he did that, his next locate was he was treed. Now, I have no clue how that dog done that, but I've seen him do that a bunch.
Yeah, I've heard of other people talk about dogs locating trees, like you're talking 20, 30 yards off and then coming treed.
Yeah. I guess, when a dog's got his head up, I guess they can smell that on the ground and in the air. I guess that's the only reason how I can figure out they did it.
Yeah,
They smelled it in the air.
yeah. Well, if I would take a kennel full like that, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So did we miss any dogs in there that we needed to talk about, or did we
Well,
kind of hit them all?
the spook dog.
Oh yeah.
He was. I had him. I campaigned him a little bit, and he was dual grand. A 17-year-old kid made him grand knight that had never coon hunted before in his life. That's the type of dog he was.
And was he a grandson to Rock
He was
or
he was out of Fred.
out of Fred?
He was
Okay.
out of Fred, a Dehoney's Boone and a Dehoney's Magnum female.
Okay. Yep, I got you. So he'd been a great grandson.
Yeah, great grandson. I picked his mama up over there at Ada at Trade Dog Row because I liked her papers, because she's out of Dehoney's Boone and Dehoney's Magnum. And then I brought her home and bred her to Fred and come up with this dog, the spook dog.
Yeah. So back then, you don't have, I guess, the luxury of Facebook and the technology we have today to be able to, I mean, we can sit and watch hunts on Friday nights. There's hunts that people are doing live, and some of this stuff. So you basically had to go on, if you've seen a dog's papers, kind of what you've heard through the grapevine and what you think would mash up
Yeah.
with what you were already, had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's where I always bred a dog is, people say you got to breed the best of the best. I always use the papers to breed on what you doubled up on, what, what a dog was good for, what they did good. And that's how I always bred them.
Yeah.
I always told them, I said, you know what? You can breed the best of the best, and I'll breed with these papers right here and come up with a better dog.
Yeah. Well, that may be an art that, that has, I don't know, maybe been overlooked some, because I do see when, I've interviewed, Junior Lassiter and some of these other guys that done some of that breeding that way. And that's literally what they had to go on. They didn't have Facebook. They didn't have YouTube to be able to watch a dog go and see how it operated. They literally had to, look at their papers and look at, the papers of the dog they were getting and see if they thought it would work.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And you got to breed a dog. They said, well, what should I breed them? I got a good female here. What should I breed it to? And now you never hear this. Well, what does that gyp need? Does she not have a good mouth? Then you need to breed her to a male dog that's got a big mouth. Is she, light on tracking? Then you need to breed her to something that tracks. That's why I always like breeding them Rat Attack and the Trackman dogs, because they had a lot of tree in them. And then I could put the other things in them, like the tracking that they needed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, because for the most part, people are breeding to the flavor of the month, now, whatever's winning, whatever's hot.
That,
And, and they may not be asking themselves, that question,
that,
what is my female, or I have this male dog I want to breed. What is my
yeah,
male dog missing that I need to incorporate here?
yeah, that's right. That is right.
And I'm no dog breeder by no means. I've raised a couple litter of puppies, but not just for me. Not, what I'm
Yeah,
saying, not for
yeah.
really selling. I usually have a co-host on here, and not really, but I'm gonna give him a hard time. It's probably because we're talking
Oh
about
yeah,
Walker dogs that he ain't on here today because he's an Englishman. But this is the
yeah.
second podcast I've done in a row that I've had to do solo because we're talking about
Oh
Walker
yeah.
dogs.
Yeah.
But no, not really. He's been going through some stuff this week as well. So I'll
Yeah,
give him
yeah,
I give him a little break on that, but I like to give him a hard time for sure. But
yeah.
he
That's
he he is a breeder, and I think, one thing that I've learned from watching him over the last few years that we've known each other is when he's looking to get something for himself, I think he does look to see what the papers would line up, and he's pretty up, especially on the English breed, on papers and what dogs do what and
yeah,
what mixes well with his line of dogs. And I think that's something that maybe not everybody looks at.
yeah. I mean, these guys nowadays, they breed whatever's winning is what's going to get bred to, and you got to look at what your dog needs. I mean, because if you raise a litter of pups and you only get two good pups out of the litter, you ain't done much. I mean, might have a couple of winners, but you ain't helping nothing.
Yeah. So do you think you could take those dogs that you have now, um, maybe some young dogs out of some of that stuff you have, and go right back to training and coon hunting those dogs?
Oh yeah, yes. If they got the genetics in them, I mean, it don't matter what you do with them, it's still there. Every one of these dogs I got out here will tree, and I've never knocked nothing out of a tree to them. I got a jip. I got a jip back. Uh, I let a guy partners on this jip, and he never could get her to do nothing. Couldn't. I mean, would not do a thing. And she is out of the Fred and this Obama jip. So I went and got her, and I said 2 weeks I'll have this jip trim because I knew it's in them. And I live up here on the side of a mountain where I can let them run loose a little bit. And about 2 weeks, I hear a strike off down here in the holler. Trailed up there and treed. And I said, man, she's treeing. So I went down there to her, and she had a big old house cat treed. And I mean so if it's in their blood, it's in there, no matter what they do.
Yeah. So do you ever have any get off of hogs and get treed when you're hog hunting, or are they pretty much focused whenever they're in their hog hunting?
Well, some of them they some of them don't make hog dogs. I had one jip. See, I bred her the hardwood or bozo dog out of hardwood patch. Or maybe it was a patch dog, one of the two. And we sent her up this holler. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. We sent them up this holler. We got up in there, and she come treed. I went up there, and she had a coon. Well, we was trying to hog hunt. So I mean, I couldn't hog hunt her because all she wanted to do was tree coons.
Well, I'm sure anybody that's listening to this podcast, and myself included, if you have one of those that you're having an issue with tree and coons at 9 o'clock in the morning, you got my phone number. You call me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that cool. I'll take her.
Yeah. Don't worry about that call. I'll even come pick her up.
Yeah, yeah. Just give me your address. I'm on my way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure myself and some other guys would be happy to
Yeah.
take those calls off your hands. But You might be the best kept secret in the Ozarks.
So
You
yeah,
know, I mean, you've got a lot of old breeding there that a lot of people may not even know is still around. I'm sure
yeah,
there's some. You mentioned you said Kevin Bray. Is that who you
yeah.
said?
Kevin Bray.
So does he
Yeah.
got a son or nephew named Chris?
No, that's a. There's some distant kin,
Okay,
but not.
I
Now,
just
see what another little story on the Chris Bray guy. That he won the Super Stakes a
yeah
couple years ago.
with Elvis.
Elvis. The jip he was out of is the jip I raised.
Okay.
I,
I I just kind of figured Chris. I know Chris from the hunts, and Chris comes up here. I'm the president of the Lawrence County Coon Hunters here in Aurora, and Chris
oh
comes up
yeah,
here and hunts a lot, and I know Chris from the hunts, and I thought y'all might know each other. And when you were saying
yeah,
Bray, I thought maybe they were some way kin or whatever.
yeah. They're kin, but it's way distant.
Okay, okay,
But the Elvis dog, he was I made the cross of Meekler's Kansas Thunder and the widow female, which was a litter mate to Obama, and that's where the jip came from that Elvis was out of. So I mean, these old dogs they can still compete in them hunts because he won the Super Stakes deal with one that
yeah,
was out of the jip.
yeah. I hunted with Elvis a few times before he had his accident, and he was a good dog for sure.
Yeah, yep. Well, I never hunted the dog.
Yeah, he was a pretty good dog, no doubt. But well, did we cover everything in there? Or do we miss anything we need to talk about?
Well, now I still got the only semen out of Clifton River Rock. That was a son of rock.
Okay, how'd you end up with that?
I bought it from old Dwayne Horsley up there in Indiana. He I bought that and some straw of Meekler's Kansas Thunder. Well, I really think I got it is I don't think they could get pups out of it. And I bought it and my vet over here at Altus, old All Pets, Hanlon, he's probably the best in the country. And that's we took it over there and we missed the read that widow jip and missed the first time, but the second time I think we got 8 pups.
So it is good then.
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
So those Meekler's dogs, I've heard that name, and I've actually heard that name recently, quite a bit. Did you hunt with some of those dogs quite a bit?
Yeah, yeah. The storm dog I hunted with him, and now I think he's about the only ones that I hunted with. I went and spectated on the cast because I thought we would see some action. I think there was 2 dogs in the cast that was supposed to be a little grumpy, but we never got to see no action. They was never on the same jury.
Yeah, yeah. So that I guess you still have some straws left on some of that.
Well, no, I only got Fred and the Clifton River Rock semen.
Okay. Are you
I
got
should have. I
plans
had
to
a
use
chance.
it?
Well, sometime.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I don't. As soon as I get the right jip. But I had a chance to buy the semen out of the Spring Creek Dewey dog that Paul Hughes had, and I think Don Nicely's got it now. But I should have bought that, but I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered quite a bit of ground, and I definitely wanted to get you on here because, like I said, I was really interested in, especially as I mean, when you go back and look at just Fred and Obama, those two are the two ads I pulled up. I mean, they're Spring Creek breeding top and bottom. So you definitely done a good job of line breeding and keeping that stuff in there.
Yeah, yeah, you got to line breed that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're definitely that. Like I said before, your phone might ring off the hook after this, but wanting dogs. But so
Well,
you might have to get back into breeding
well,
dogs.
you know, I that if I could get somebody that would answer the phone, I would probably do it. But I mean that you got to kind of work a little bit to pay the bills, not talk on the phone all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely understand that for sure. But
But I remember the first ad I run on Fred. Oh, the day that come out, I was working at a cabinet shop, and I went home. I got home at 3:30, and every time that phone was ringing when I walked in the door, and every time I hung that phone up, it was ringing again. And at 10:30 that night, I said, "I'm done with this." I mean, I just left it. But I mean, that phone rang from 3:30 till 10:30 that night. Just every time you hung it up, she was ringing again.
yeah, and that could be aggravating, for sure. Especially
Yeah,
especially back then, because I mean, it was just you probably didn't have a cell phone; it was just a house phone, right?
yeah, it's a house phone. Yeah, yep, just a house phone. There wasn't the I had a cell phone back when they first come out, and I was delivering a pup up there to in Illinois. Oh, C.L. Jones. He was the first one that called me on that ad. And when I called him on that cell phone, when I got the bill, I think I talked to him for 1 minute, and it was $8. It was $8 a minute, and I said, "Nah, that's enough of that. I ain't used that thing no more."
You can't talk about hounds very long at $8 a minute.
Shoot, no, I mean that was a little overpriced.
Yeah, so some people will listen to this and not even know what we're talking about whenever you say $8 a minute. But you used to have to pay per minute on your cell phone.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yep.
Man, we've been at it. It's hard to believe. It seemed like we just started talking, but we've been at it right at an hour. Um,
Oh yeah,
and we've covered quite a bit of ground. But I did want to give Daniel Felker a plug. I seen a thing you put on Facebook, and I forwarded
yeah.
that deal to Daniel, and I guess Daniel reached out to you and had you over on the Coon Hunting Confidentials podcast, and kind
Yeah,
of told your story there.
that was some fun right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you
Yeah, I told them boys, I said, "Now you don't want me to drive over there to uh, South Carolina." I said, "Because I got people over there I know too."
yeah,
It's a lot of joking around.
yeah, those. I mean, I don't know those guys personally, but me and Daniel has messaged back and forth and talked and stuff, and they seem like really, really good guys. And I knew your story of what you had trapped there kind of fell right in line with what his
Yeah,
podcast is about, and so I wanted to get your information over to him. And if people want to hear that part of the story, go over to Coon Hunting Confidentials, and Daniel had you on I guess it's been 2 weeks ago
yeah,
or a week ago or something like that. And then
yeah. A couple weeks.
and I guess you've been making your rounds on the podcast world besides mine and Daniel, because I seen you were coming up or either just on or fixing to be on, cooking up a story there with those guys I think they're out of Arkansas, ain't they?
Yeah, yeah. We was on there last week, I guess. It just come out Friday.
Okay, I haven't had an opportunity to listen to that one yet. Like I said, I've been battling this sickness, so I ain't really been paying too close attention to a phone.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Nah, it's having some fun with that. I mean, that's some fun.
Yeah, but Hey, I appreciate you taking your time out of Saturday, but I think we covered the ground that at least I was looking to get. I was wanting to get the history of your dogs and that line of Spring Creek dogs, and I think we done that. Unless you have anything else to add, I think we were about where we can start winding this thing down.
Yeah, I think. Well, maybe you think something later, but right now I can't think of nothing.
Yeah. Well, I think it was great. I think we got what we wanted out of it, and like I said, I wanted to get you on here. I ever since I heard, of course, when Daniel had you on, he sent me a message and said, "Hey, we recorded with the guy. You got to listen to it." And so I was listening to it, and as soon as you said Spring Creek Rock, my ears perked up, and I thought, "There's no way I have sent Daniel a guy that has dogs out of Spring Creek Rock." And so then I started doing a little digging, and I thought, well, I've got to have this guy on my podcast.
Yeah, yeah. I'm probably the only one that has the closest of the old Spring Creek Rock blood.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. It's, the way what I'm seeing with the way your dogs are bred. Yeah, I would say you're right.
And two, this here's another thing. Well, I guess we better get this on there. Uh, there was, which I was pretty good friends with Dwayne Clark. But he helped me and Bray a lot, and he told us a lot. And the two best crosses out of Spring Creek Rock was out of Flying Hawk and Call River Chief females. He said there was something about them dogs that was different than every other cross.
So do you know what those dogs went back to on their side?
Oh, the Flying Hawk, I think they went back. It was kind of line bred. I think they was kin to the dogs that went on the Spring Creek Rock side.
Okay. Yeah, and I would have to, like I said, I recorded a podcast with Junior, and he covered some of that, so I'd have to go back and spend a while re-listen to it to really understand it.
Yeah. But they always said, I don't know if there's anything to this or not, but see, Junior Lassiter and Dwayne Clark, they lived right up there in the same country.
Yeah.
But there wasn't that many dogs out of Rock bred to Flying Hawk females because they said Rock or Dwayne Clark and Lassiter didn't get along. I mean, that's what, I don't know if there's anything to it or not, but
Yeah.
that's what they always said.
Yeah, I like I said, I moved to this part of the country. Well, I moved to Missouri in '07, and I moved to where I'm at now about 5 years ago. And I was visiting with a neighbor down here, just stopped and was talking or whatever, and the name he said something about me coon hunting because when we moved here, I didn't have a dog, and I just got a young pup, and the name Spring Creek Rock come up, and I said, yeah, yeah, I know that name, from when I was a kid. And he said, well, Dwayne Clark, he had, I guess, a fur shed or something here
Yeah.
in Hurley, and he was telling me where he lived, and it's literally, well, as the crow flies, it's probably about mile and a half from my house where Dwayne lived and where supposedly Rock is buried.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that was a little bit intriguing to me, especially when you're a kid, and when I was a kid, I just wanted something that tree a coon. I didn't care what color it was, but
That's right.
I just
Yep.
I always liked the way those dogs looked, and in the magazine that was out of him, and I always thought, well, that would be cool to go up there in that part of the country. But like I said before, that'd be when I was a kid. That was like me saying that'd be cool to go to Japan as it would be to
Yeah.
come to Missouri, because it was that far apart for me.
Yeah. That's right.
But well, I've definitely enjoyed having you on here, Mr. Timothy, and maybe we can get together and do it again. And
Yeah.
if if somebody's interested in getting a hold of you about a pup, I guess they can get a hold of me, and I can put them in touch with you, or they can catch you on Facebook and send you a
Yeah.
message or whatever.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I raised a few. Well, I got a litter due. I just bred her here 2 weeks ago. The male dog goes back. This is the only dog I know that's still alive that goes back to this dog, the Spring Creek Chief dog of Kevin Bray's.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back. The male dog goes. He's out of Obama and out of a Jip that's out of the Boss dog, and the Boss dog was out of the Spring Creek King dog, which it was out of Slobber and Mike, and the Chief dog. And that's the only blood I know of that's still around that the Chief dog has. So them should be some dandy pups.
Yeah. Well, if you're out there listening and you're interested in some good old Walker, tree and Walker blood, Mr. Timothy Tillman will be the guy to get a hold of, because he is the only one I know that has it line bred like that. There may be somebody else, I just don't know of them out there. But reach out to him on Facebook or get a hold of me. I can put you in touch with him. You might be able to sneak a puppy away from him before he starts hog hunting.
Hog hunting, yes, before I ruin them. So I guarantee you can take one of these dogs and run hogs with it all you want, and then you still take them and they'll tree.
Yeah.
As I tell these guys, I said you could take them and train them to herd cattle, and they'd still tree. It's because it's in their genes. It's in there. You can't get it out of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's for sure. That is for sure. Well, I appreciate you taking a portion of your Saturday to jump on here and record with me. I think this has been great, and people are going to enjoy it. And maybe we can get together here in 6 months or a year and do an update with you and see how dogs are coming along, and see if people listen to this podcast and maybe bought you out of puppies and you having to go back to raise puppies again.
Yeah. They make me start raising pups. Twist my arm.
Yeah, for sure. But if you ain't got anything else, I think we'll wind her down here. I think we covered what we need to cover.
Yeah, I think so. I think they did a good job.
Well, Mr. Timothy, thank you for joining us today, and I'll let you know when this gets ready to come out.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Coonhound Collective podcast today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to the podcast. If you don't mind, head over to Facebook and give us a like, and head over to Instagram and give us a follow. It's both at the Coonhound Collective. Also, if you would like to reach us here at the Coonhound Collective, you can reach us at thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. If there's someone that you would like to hear on the podcast, or a product that you would like to hear talked about, please send it to thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. Thanks again. Have a great day.